So a few years before I had my ET intervention, which helped me heal the early childhood core traumas, a few years before that I had a full day Satoris into non-duality levels. And I'm going to talk about my experience with this level as the final video in this series, so far at least, until I get to those levels permanently. And I can actually talk about it with my authentic experience of it, because I don't talk about theories, I talk about my experience of this whole scale. But anyway, this happened a few years before that, and I was on the beach having a couple of beers, not too many at that point, but a few. And then suddenly out of the blue, it's like a big shift happened completely out of the blue, like lightning from a clear sky. So I basically shifted into being like, feeling like I was a person in reality to becoming reality itself. So I became the space in which a body or person exists, or my identity shifted into this space. And I felt like I was one with reality itself. And that's a subtle shift but profound implications or profound effects, because it doesn't feel like a big deal when it happens. It's more like a natural, it's almost like a switch of a button. That's so simple it is. And it's like you have this resistance to reality that's causing you to believe that you are a closed person, and then suddenly that resistance is gone and you realize, hey, I am reality. That's actually who I am or what I am. So you just feel like you are the spacious reality that you thought you were in before. So you're basically one with everything in that sense, but you're still an individual. I mean, you don't know what's going on in the next neighbor's house or anything like that. You don't know, I mean, you don't get any special knowledge in that sense. Not, at least I didn't. I mean, I didn't get any new insights in that sense, or any, magical knowledge or anything like that. And I still felt like me. And, I was the same person in all ways, basically, but obviously with a completely different sense of who I am or what I am, as my identity shifted into becoming reality itself. And what I immediately noticed when this happened was that all my so-called worries, or any worries I had about the future, or like any so-called problems I had. At that time I had a lot of problems because of what I was going through with the, with the whole Dark Night of the Soul stuff, right? I talked about it in the previous video. So all those things and all those, worries you have and whatnot, it's all gone, long gone immediately, like within a second after this shift happened. It's like those things never existed at all. You're completely absorbed in the moment. You have no future, you have no past, you're just flowingly absorbed in the moment, and everything becomes fascinating. It's like being on a light acid trip. Like everything shines, all the colors are more vivid. And people look extremely beautiful, no matter what level they're at. And you can see sort of love guiding all their interactions. I could basically tune into different groups of people sitting around in couples and whatnot. And I could see that underneath it all, even if they were arguing a little bit or whatever, underneath it all I could see that love was guiding everything. All the interactions was guided by love. So my whole worldview became infused by this love, and I could see it. I mean, it was immensely beautiful. Like everywhere I turned my head was like something completely new, even though I've seen it many times before. There is no routine, there is no getting bored at these levels, because everything becomes fascinating. It's like if you turn your head around, it's like you're seeing it for the first time again and again. Everything is fresh. It's like being on, if you tried acid, not a light acid trip or a medium acid trip, it's kind of like that, but without the hallucinations and confusion you can get on these drugs. But the world is like shiningly beautiful, like exquisitely beautiful. Everything's like a piece of art. The whole world, the whole creation becomes like a piece of art, basically shines forth with this beauty and light and more vivid colors, and you sort of move flowingly in this new version of reality that you now can see, and you have immense love for everybody. You feel like you want to take care of people and help them, and you just see the beauty in everybody in that sense. And that's how it was. I mean, I was basically sitting there on the beach and this happened, and it happened so quickly, like in an instant everything changed like that. But I didn't think for a second that this would last. I didn't think that, okay, finally now I'm actually enlightened, like I've been seeking my entire life. I didn't think so. I intuitively somehow knew that this would not last for all that long. And basically it lasted for the rest of the day, but then I went to sleep in the evening or night, and then in the next morning it was basically gone. Although I had it came back a few times in the next couple of weeks, like for maybe a few minutes or up to half an hour, on and off a little bit. So it wasn't completely gone until after a couple of weeks. But then it didn't return. And it didn't return like so long. The first time it happened like for a full day. And obviously it's an amazing state to be in. I mean, you know, life is, you have no worries about the future. You're completely in the moment, or completely absorbed in flowingly taking life as it comes, carefree, not a care in the world kind of attitude and how you become. And you just, you know, take everything moment by moment. There is no future to worry about anything. There is no past to be angry about or feel bad about anymore. I mean, it's all gone. And it's so simple and so subtle in one way. Like, it's just a switch of a button, and then you're in this state. That's all it takes for the higher mind to do. It can switch a button at any stage of the journey, and you can be in this state, you know. Because if they can do it temporarily, they can obviously also do it permanently if they want, or if it wants. And I actually asked about this when I had my ET intervention / higher mind intervention, healing the core traumas. I asked about this non-duality experience, and they told me that they wanted me to see what life really is like. Like, that this is apparently how it really is if you don't have all this negativity that we are swimming around in, and issues that you have in your mind and whatnot. And this is how you would experience life naturally if everybody was the natural self. So I'm thinking of myself, like, I didn't ask about this unfortunately when I had a chance, but later I thought to myself, okay, so you wanted to show me this, but why? Because, you know, okay, now I know how great life can be and would be if you just switch a button permanently for me and let me be in that state all the time. But no, I can't help but compare how I am now, the state I am in now, to this amazing state of non-duality, right? So what was the point? I mean, was it supposed to motivate me? Because maybe it did, but in one way it did, but it's also like, why can't you just switch the button permanently so I can actually help people? And you know, with my Buddha field, and I've been on the borderline for so many years now. I don't see the point in keeping me locked down here for in the 630s or whatever for so long, you know, when I've been so close to it. But I don't know, they don't answer me on these things. I didn't ask about all this, unfortunately, but I don't really, I mean, it's kind of weird, you know, you get a taste of this level, and then you understand now, okay, life is great, life is amazing, and this is how it can be, and hopefully it will be like that for everybody in the future when the whole planet reaches a higher level of density, or we become more into fourth density Earth. Then hopefully non-duality and these levels will be like the norm level for everybody, because that would be a completely different world for sure. And the most interesting thing about it is that all those problems you think you have, they become like, they disappear, like, you know, it's like a complete illusion that you think you have thing to worry about in the future, and these things. It's basically all taken care of by the higher mind anyway, but it's difficult to see that if you're not in the non-duality state. Then you realize that there is nothing to worry about in that sense. But I mean, what can you say? It's the level everybody is seeking. It's the level where you become, where the seeker or the perceiver becomes the perceived, as they say. But that's not really, it's correct in many ways to say that the perceiver becomes the perceived, but it's more like, I mean, you're still the body in one sense, okay? You're not like, it's not like you're completely free from your identity. Your ultimate identity becomes space, and the body exists in that space, but you're still perceiving through your eyes. You know, you experience reality through your senses and everything like that. It's just a sense inside of who you are. It's no longer a pain or a, you know, some resistance or something that feels like a closed block. Instead, it just becomes the space, and you can sense that this space extends to the whole universe. But you don't become the whole universe in that sense, like some people say. You're still located exactly where you are. I mean, you're still in the body in that sense. Although you feel free from it, you don't feel like you are the body anymore. You feel like you are space, which is free and beyond the body and beyond dualisms and beyond paradoxes and all those things, right? But I didn't get any, you know, like I said, I didn't get any special insights or more wisdom in that sense. I mean, I still had the same knowledge and all those things, and I was basically walking around and along the beach and sitting down at some restaurants and whatnot. after a while, and people would notice that something was going on. Like some people would look at me like, what the hell is this guy, right? But I didn't talk to anybody. I just wanted to enjoy whatever this was for how long it would last. So I just went home after a while and basically just enjoyed being in that state, but I knew it wouldn't last for more than probably the full day, and that's exactly what happened. But at least I know what the level is about, and I mean, you could say like so many teachers make it into this this incredible mystery. It's so mystic, and it's so special and strange and all these things. Not really. I mean, it felt really natural, and it felt completely like, when it happens, it feels completely natural and subtle in many ways. It's like a subtle switch of a button, but the implications and what the effects are obviously kind of profound. But it's not like it's not like you're jumping up and down. Like it's more like, okay, something changed here, and obviously, and it's a big deal in one way, and another way it doesn't feel like a big deal. It feels like it's kind of, that's why they call it non-duality. It's beyond both of those things, I guess. Obviously it's a big deal when your whole identity shifts and your whole world, how you perceive everything shifts, but at the same time it doesn't feel like a big deal. It's kind of weird in that sense, but it's what everybody is seeking, right? It's the final state, or at least the beginning of a whole new paradigm, because there are obviously higher levels of enlightenment and non-duality. That's the lowest level. So I have no idea what the higher levels of enlightenment is like, or how they can be anything deeper or more, more profound and more I don't know. I have no idea what, because I haven't experienced higher levels of enlightenment, but I've met teachers who are higher level than non-duality, and I've read about it and whatnot, so I know there are different levels of enlightenment too. So this non-duality is just the beginning of a completely new paradigm of you can still expand, you can still reach higher levels of consciousness even beyond that. So, but obviously it's a completely different stage or state of being than anything below. You're beyond the so-called mind and all that. You become you're free. You feel it's a state of freedom. You feel completely free and flowing in the moment with no worries, and it's obviously a great state to live in. I mean, that goes without saying, right? It's a reason everybody is seeking these levels, and but ultimately the best you can do is take yourself up the scale as far as you can, and if you're meant to or destined to be enlightened or in non-duality, the higher mind can switch you into that state from wherever you are. It doesn't matter. I mean, there is no evidence to suggest that getting into the higher love levels or even lower 600s increases your chances of reaching these levels. That might be the case, I don't know, that might be the case, but there is no evidence to suggest that, because all the evidence of historical cases of enlightenment that I've looked into suggests that you can jump into enlightenment from any level. It's all up to the higher mind and what's relevant for your journey, and karmic stuff and whatever, I don't know. But anyway, this is the final video of this series until if I reach higher levels of enlightenment at some point, I will obviously add to this series and describe those levels too. But this is as far as I have experienced in this life so far. So I'm probably going to make a conclusion, a final thoughts video about this series also for the next video.